All right, BMW brake. We've got this 2016 Crosstrek. Right now, what we're trying to do is, one thing I've realized is I like working on cars. I can do it pretty well. I don't know if I'd want to do it for a job, but for side work, it's pretty good. So we're gonna be doing some rear struts on these. We got KYBs. I think these are the Made in America ones because the boxes are red. End links and some sway bar bushings. And we're just gonna get this knocked out real quick. It is like 7:45 or so, and we're gonna see if we can get this knocked out. And we're gonna be putting this money towards the E30, which I think I've locked in completely. We're gonna do an N52 on it. So I am trying to source a 2007 to 2009, I think, E90 or E90 328i manual or a 128i manual. And if I get the 128, I can put seats and stuff in it. So that's the plan. We're going to go through and keep track of this and see how much we can do to get this done for as cheap as possible. Like I mentioned, LS and Atlas are gone, and that went towards parts for the X5. So let's get started on this. So it has been a while since I've worked on a Subaru. The last Subaru I worked on was my 2008 STI, which sadly met its demise from a dump truck hitting it while it was parked. I missed that car quite a bit. And it's always been one of those things that I've been like, man, I'm gonna get another one. But I think I may wait until I possibly get back to Japan and then look at getting basically the JP version of the car I had. Oh, wheels come right off. These are incredibly light compared to my BMW, so I'm for it. Boots look good. I think these are just the bolt at the bottom and then two up top and then spring compressor, and we pull it out. We've also got to do these, which should be relatively easy. They're a little crusty, and I got the end links just in case. The person who owns this car took it to a mechanic and they told him that the sway bar was bad and causing a squeak. And I said, that's probably not true. So let's work on getting this off real quick. I think we're gonna switch over to a tripod though, instead of being around my neck. I think to get back here, we've got just one pop tab. This should come off, and I think the struts are gonna be under there. So let me get this off real quick. Right, those are in there. And one. And two. All right, easy enough. These two just pop out. There's one latch underneath for this tab at the bottom, and then that latch. So you kind of need to pull out and then lift this panel up to slide this one out because they go through. Both are out. Just two 14s maybe on the top, and then we can drop it. And then one bolt down at the bottom. We will probably need a wrench, but we can get all this out and then go from there. I will give it to Subaru. They are really easy to work on. There's a bunch of space right here where I can get this basically on in place and just break it loose. This is something though I don't even think you need power tools for. You could definitely do all of this stuff with hand tools. Sweet. And you can just go rent you can just go get, a spring compressor at AutoZone or O'Reilly's or any of the places, rent it. Don't even gotta pay for it, and it's that easy. So unfortunately, I couldn't find the ratcheting wrench, and I can't fit a socket in here. But this is just tighten until we release tension and then take it off. And once we take it off, then we can get the strut or the top hat off. And then this should be good to rock and roll. All right, a little rough. Definitely take this arm off, the lower rear control arm. Take the bolt out for the end link, and this will drop, and you can get the bolt out, and then this should easily be free now. And now we've just got a bomb. Definitely the better move. The only downside is now I'm going to need to lower this onto something to tighten it. But that's less bad than trying to weasel that out. I'm going to get the other shock built up and see if I can blast this end link off. Oh, it's leaking. This guy is definitely not great. Got a lot of grease on it. So let's get that off and build up this other shock. All right, per usual when working on anything, not as easy. This ball joint that was cooked is just spinning freely. So since the sway bar is pretty easy to take out, I'm just gonna pull it, and then I'm probably gonna need to cut the end of that bolt off, but the two nuts holding this back in are in. I've got that bolt back there that was holding up the control arm partially in. I just need to kind of get all the bolts in place. And once I do that, then it'll be kind of set. So then I can go up a little bit and get some cinder blocks or something to put the weight of the car down on, and then tighten everything up to spec. And then it should be good to go, hopefully. So I'm going to get this back in. Then get this out, and then that'll be it. I think I lucked out though. These boots were in good shape, so I don't think I'm gonna need to use the new ones, which is money saved for everyone. So I'm gonna continue to struggle with this and hopefully be done in a second. Update, things are not going well. The end link on that guy completely is seized. The other side I got off, so that's at least one nice thing, but sway bar's out. This is all kind of back in. Everything's not fully tight, but it's in. Just gotta get these off, and then we gotta tackle the other side, and then I need to put some weight on this so I can tighten everything down and make sure it's under load so we're not tweaking any bushings, even though these ones are kind of a little worn. I think they've got 100,000 miles on them or just about. So back to twisting this for 30 minutes to get it off, and then we get to start on the other side. I'll see you then. Alrighty, so we're looking a little more disheveled. It's getting pretty late. It's like 10:30 because I spent way too long. I spent like an hour trying to get this off, and it does not want to budge even with vice grips on it. This one came off, not great, but it did come off. This side going much smoother, so I took off the back control arm bolt and the strut bolt, and then dropped the whole strut as one without actually putting the spring compressor on it first, and that worked a lot better. Now I'm going to tighten it down, take the top hat off, and then build up the new strut, put it back in, get everything kind of set, and then once it's all kind of set, I can get the angle grinder out, finish this up, and then it's back together and we're done, which is good because I have to be up kind of early tomorrow and it's getting late. So I'm gonna get this knocked out and we'll be back in a second. All right, so my hopes here is that this is not gonna come shooting off at 200 miles an hour. I didn't put a ton of tension on the spring because I feel like it doesn't really need it. So we're gonna put the bigger 14 on, point this the other direction and hope for the best. The other one I really tightened down, so we'll see how this goes. Or this is going to spin and I'm going to need to take it all off. It just spun. So now I get a wedge Allen in there again. I also may have forgotten to get pass-through sockets, and we're working with some vice grips and a rag with the Allen wrench through it. So, success. That worked very well. I definitely did not tighten down the spring compressors a bunch, but hey, it worked. That works surprisingly well. These aren't really tight, so it didn't take much to get it off. Now I just got to pump the other strut, put this together, and then get it back in. And then angle grinder time at, I don't have a watch, 11 o'clock. Yeah, not too bad. Only 10:41, so only like 3 hours so far with all of the hits and misses. So, you know, it is what it is. A sight everybody is aware of at least once in their life. We're almost done. It is 11:30. Cutting the end link off was a pain, but that is all back in. I just need to get those new end links on, and then wheels, and then tighten, and then that is it. This is what we ended up with the end link, though. I ended up getting most of it off. I didn't touch the sway bar when I cut it. Basically just cut it into a ring, cut the threads off, and rock and roll. Because of this, I'm gonna just finish this up, and I will talk to you guys once it's back together or if something else happens. Back on, everything's on, which means we can get the wheel back on. And then just need to put her down, tighten it up, and then we're good to go for a little spin, make sure it's good. I won't bring you guys along for the spin, for the drive, but this was basically just, he was getting some pretty bad squeaking when he was going over like bumps and stuff. And it wasn't all the time, but it was just enough to be annoying, which I think we've all been there with car noises. What's worse is the shop he took it to quoted him like $2,100 to do this. And no, yes, it did take quite a bit longer than it should have. However, I don't know how they got $2,100. Like, that would be such an insane markup on parts. I don't know what the labor rate is. You know, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And since this is not my car, I will actually be using a torque wrench to tighten everything, like the wheels and stuff, instead of my foolproof method of just doing 2 clicks on 2 with the impact. But hey, that's how it be. All right, so also from the future, we finished up the Subaru. I finished at like 12:30, so it did take quite a bit longer. A lot of time I wasted trying to get that end link off of the sway bar instead of just cutting it off like I should have, like I know I should have. I tried for hours just trying to get pliers in there and break it apart, and it didn't work, which I knew it wasn't going to, and I should have just cut it, and I would have saved like an hour and a half, but we all kind of do that. I feel like everybody gets the like, oh, well, I don't want to break out the cutting tools, and it would have just saved so much time. So we got that all done, got it on the ground, torqued up. The clips following were actually about a week later, and we were going about trying to get some funds up for the swap I want to do on my E30. So we're selling a bunch of old car parts and stuff like that. All right. So continuing on with trying to do this N52 swap and acquiring it for free. I also had a set of wheels that I got maybe like 8 years ago. I think they're off of a Bavaria E9, and I'm hoping someone's gonna buy them today. They could be rare. I don't know anything about these wheels, but I don't have any use for, regardless of how cool they are. I'll pop a picture up on screen here, but I don't have any use for a set of 13 by 6 inch 5 by 120 wheels. If I decided to put them on my E30, I feel like it'd be a waste. I don't want to figure out how to convert the 2002 to 5 lug and put them on there, even though I think they would look good because they make 4 lugs of these. They're I think they're FPS wheels, but I think they're just very specific with the 5 by 120. So hopefully these go, and then we'll take all this money from the Subaru and these wheels and a few other things I've sold, like the LS and the Atlas, and see if we can get this swap done and started. All right, wheels sold, money acquired, not even any haggling. So that is another step towards that swap. And finally, a little update on the brake in the videos. I've been waiting on the flasher for my X5 so we can get that the tune done and everything on it. However, with some recent changes to stuff to the US and the tuner coming from Canada, it got sent back. It was supposed to be here 3 weeks ago, and I would have been able to get everything installed and then had my video schedule out like every other week like I've been planning, and it didn't show up. So I've been trying to find stuff in between. I think we are going to pivot now, though, since I have everything else in stock, or not in stock, but everything else on hand to do the car. But we're going to switch up what tune we're getting for now, and I may get a deflasher in the future to go ahead and record some of that data and share it with anybody who may be interested. But we're going with the cheapest route. That'll be coming hopefully in the next couple weeks, because now I've got to go ahead and do the delete process and get all that stuff sorted. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.